Good morning to the wonderful faculty, staff, family, friends, and graduates of the Spartan Class of 2020. My name is Melanie Reyes, and I'm going to start this speech by saying possibly the most cliche statement that can be spoken at a graduation ceremony. We made it. But those words just don't have the same meaning as they would to any other graduating class. No, our high school experience is not simply defined by the usual problems of acne and teenage hormones. As a class, we've endured a record-breaking hurricane and an unprecedented worldwide pandemic. And yet, we stand here today to receive our diplomas, untainted by the challenges that have faced us. In the months preceding this ceremony, we were left guessing, unsure of whether we'd ever be able to celebrate our high school accomplishments. And it might be outside at 8 in the morning, in the humidity of a Houston morning, but we are here. We made it. But it is easy to ask ourselves, why us? Why did a pandemic have to happen in our last moments of youthhood? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry we didn't get to experience prom. I'm sorry to the athletes and the performers who didn't get to have their last season. I'm sorry that our last moments of high school took place on a computer screen. And most of all, I'm sorry we didn't get to say proper goodbyes. But rather than dwelling on what we've lost in the past few months, let's take a step back and focus on what we did get to experience for the past 4 years. 4 years ago, we walked into the double doors of Cypress Lakes High School, greeted by the beaming smiles of the Sterling Stars. From the beginning, we were told, "You are the class of 2020. Your vision is clear." But at that point, we might have actually felt pretty blind. We blindly walked into our first class, our first football game, and our first homecoming. We blindly began the Freshman Academy program where they always reminded us about the importance of our future. But that seemed so far away at the time. We couldn't see that far yet. No, our vision was not clear. It was after this year that Hurricane Harvey hit. Back then, missing 2 extra weeks of school, it seemed crazy. But again, we were blind of what was to come. Then everything changed junior year. We'd been going about high school blindly, only half listening to the important advice from our teachers and our counselors. But suddenly, everything started to come into clearer view. We worked tirelessly to build the application that would determine the next step of our lives. Between ACT and SAT prep, clubs, sports, extracurriculars, tougher classes, and working our first jobs, suddenly, our future was closer than it was far, and the world of adulthood was in our sights. And finally, after 3 long years of being kindly reminded by Mr. Pham to put our IDs on, we came to the final stretch, our senior year. Finally, as we came to the end of high school, it began to be like the class of 2020's vision was actually clear. With delight, we began our last first day of school. We attended our last homecoming. Athletes played their last games and attended their last meets. There was a whirlwind of history-making accomplishments. For the first time ever, the boys and girls basketball teams advanced to playoffs together. Lakes for Lives invited the former mayor to speak to us. The AV team won a competition to be recognized by FBI Houston. Seniors in the music, speech, and theater departments qualified for regional and state competitions. Athletes signed to continue their sports in college. And everyone, no matter where they were in high school, took steps to further their future. And as the end of the year approached, we began ordering our prom tickets and our cap and gowns. Everything became surreal, as the things we looked forward to for years had finally come among us. But on March 6th, 2020, we began the day with a senior sunrise. Everyone felt the serene feeling of togetherness as we watched the sun fill our beloved football field with its orange and pink rays. Most schools have their senior sunrise in early fall as a symbol of the beginning of the year. We had ours in the spring. Little did we know that on that quiet morning, on March 6th, 2020, we watched the sun rise on what would be our very last day of high school. This in itself should make it clear that our unfortunate ending to senior year was not an end at all. It was a beginning, just as a sunrise begins every single day. No matter the obstacles that are presented to us, we are a class, a generation of individuals meant to tackle these challenges and come out even stronger. About 18 years ago, each of us were brought into this world during the devastation surrounding the 9/11 tragedy. Today, we graduate during a pandemic. We are unmistakably defined by these unprecedented events for a reason. No other high school class will face the unique set of challenges that has strengthened us and taught us the meaning of patience and endurance. We stand differently. And if you don't believe me, believe your teachers. In preparation for this speech, I asked many senior teachers to describe exactly what makes us so different from other classes. Some of the words they used to describe us were kind, conscientious, hardworking, grounded, and independent. But the words that stuck out most to me were ready and persistent. Although we may not have known it, we were ready for a challenge as large as a pandemic and persistent enough to succeed through the struggle. And as we enter the next portion of our life, we'll use the lessons we've learned to be ready and persistent through every step of the way. I take this opportunity to thank everyone who's helped us get to this point, to the faculty and staff that have spent these 4 years shaping us for the future, to the teachers who were patient with us from our days as wild freshmen to our days of online classes, and to our friends and family who've kept us sane amidst this craziness that we call life. We owe it to you that today, 782 of us graduate. We all had our different places in this school, but today we graduate together. And after this day, as we continue on separate paths, we will impact the world together. We, the class of 2020, now have a clear vision of our promising future. We made it. Thank you.